First of all, good morning to Peter Schiff. Peter, how are you doing, sir?
Good, how are you?
We're living the dream, buddy. That's what we're doing, living the dream.
Peter, welcome back to the show. And I got to tell you, man, I'm digging the YouTubes and the podcasts and all the stuff you're doing. I appreciate you holding that mantle out there.
Thank you. Hey, thank you.
Hey, so we're talking big to little, right? And we kind of got going. What in your world is the biggest thing that makes you nervous or kind of makes you like, what's happening? Whether it's global, national, you're in the financial world, so what is it that fires you up?
Well, I mean, what everybody should be concerned about is the inflation that is coming back. In fact, if you look at commodity prices, they're on a tear so far this year. The price of everything is going way up. Agricultural commodities, industrial metals, of course, precious metals leading the way. At one point, about 10 minutes ago, silver was up another 70 cents this morning. It's pulled back a little bit, but it's still up strongly on the day. Gold's up almost $20. It was up even higher. Actually, now it's pulled back to only up about 13. But these are new highs for the year, and this should frighten people because, the Federal Reserve has been printing a lot of money hoping that it would create economic growth. It hasn't, but it has created a lot of inflation, and that is about to blow up because just as inflation is going to be picking up, the economy is relapsing back into recession, and I think you're going to see a reversal in the gains in the employment arena. And of course, the problem with all the job production is that it's been net part-time jobs. We've actually been destroying full-time jobs, and nobody really talks about that.
Right.
We simply create a higher number of part-time jobs to replace the full-time jobs that we destroy. But workers are worse off because collectively these part-time jobs don't even give them the income that they used to get when they had one full-time job.
So Peter, we're watching all the inventory levels and the retail sales and year over years are all peaking. They're all looking like that recession is coming. What do we do next? Because the Fed, are they out of bullets? Have they shot their whole opportunity to?
Well, they have more bullets. The problem is the bullets don't work. They're actually, they're detrimental. They could certainly go back to zero. They can go negative. They can do more QE. So they have a machine gun full of bullets. But the problem is, our body is already riddled with the bullets from before. It doesn't help the economy. Before I came on, you guys were talking about, the $20 bill, and, now you're going to get Harriet Tubman on the 20. It doesn't really matter who's on the money. The problem is it's not going to buy very much. And, they originally were going to put Harriet Tubman on the 10. But these new bills aren't going to come out till 2020. And basically, she's going to be on the 10 because the 20 is going to be the new 10.
Which is your analogy of why the precious metals are going up, because that's a safe place to put money. It's because it's real. It's not fake. It's not inflated. It's not made up money. So are you a buy gold guy? You are the CEO of Euro Pacific Capital, and you have a location up in Scottsdale and a couple others around the country. A friend of mine works with you up there. So what's your advice to folks that want to put some money away and be safe in this weird time?
Well, they should be buying some gold and silver before the prices go much, much higher, which is going to be very soon because they're moving up pretty rapidly. But I think the pace is going to even accelerate because you still have so many people that are in denial. But also you need to get out of the U.S. dollar because so many people have been buying dollars over the past few years because they actually believed in the legitimacy of this recovery and the ability of the Fed to actually orchestrate the rate hikes it was talking about and to shrink its balance sheet. None of this is possible. We just had a bubble. And just raising rates by 0.25% pricked it, and now the Fed has to go back to zero, or they don't have to, but they will, and try to prevent the bubble from deflating. They're going to print even more money. They're going to do QE4. And when people wake up to this reality that we never really recovered, that we're sicker than ever, the dollar is going to tank. And before that happens, people should try to invest abroad, get their money out of the U.S. and get it into other countries and other currencies that will preserve their value.
What country looks better than what we're in right now? What country is, you look at Venezuela, Argentina, the Brazils, look at Russia, look at
you're not
Brexit.
Those aren't the places that we're necessarily investing. But look, there's a lot of countries. You can look at New Zealand, you can look at Singapore, you can look at Switzerland. There are a number of countries that are not only doing better than the United States, but they're doing a lot better. I mean, there are other countries that are doing better, but they're still doing poorly. So we don't have to choose those. We can choose the best countries in the world in which to invest. But, the United States is actually, as far as major economies are concerned, I think we're in the worst shape. I think we're in worse shape than Japan. I think we're in worse shape than the Eurozone, even though there are a lot of problems there. The problem is our problems are even bigger. It's just that nobody is talking about them yet.
The numbers are so large, to your point. I mean, when you look at the size of our economy, the size of our debt, it's never been there in history.
We're on with Peter Schiff, 790-2040 at 6:41 in the morning. Peter, what are those other countries doing better What are some of the real basic things that are happening better in those countries than what's going on in the United States?
Well, it's more of a question of what they're not doing than what they are doing, right? I mean, because it's what we do that hurts our economy. I mean, left alone, economies would be strong. It's just that governments come in and create impediments to economic growth, or in fact, make it impossible for economies to grow. So what those countries are doing, or are not doing, that we are doing, is we have too much regulation. We have too much government spending. We have too much government borrowing. We have too high taxes. So those are the problems. So the countries I'm investing in have freer markets. So their governments don't meddle as much in the economy. They don't regulate as much. They don't tax as much. They don't spend as much. And they certainly don't borrow as much. And as a result, the people save more. And they produce more, and the countries export, and so they have sounder economies. We just live in a bubble.
And Peter, these Keynesian economists that continue, the Sumners and all these folks, they just say more. If it just had a little more, it's just put a little more. It's like a crack addict that just doesn't ever get enough. That's always the solution. But your point is, you've got to build, you've got to grow, you've got to have savings, you've got to have true economic. You got to build things and sell things and own things and support things.
Absolutely, and we don't do all that. I mean, the government is an impediment to that actually happening. All they want to do is preserve the malinvestments of the past, the malinvestments that their own economic policies created, rather than acknowledge that what they did was a failure. They just do more of it. It's amazing that they can start with interest rates way up and bring them down to zero, and then still think the problem is that rates are not low enough, or they can do quantitative easing twice, and it doesn't work, and then do it a third time. And I think, they're going to do it a fourth time, and they may even go negative, but they're still going to pretend that what they did in the past works, even though the fact that they have to keep doing it should prove that it failed.
So, Peter, how do you answer on record low unemployment? We're sub 5. Wall Street, this is the Obama mantra that we've recovered, and look what happened in my years. Wall Street's off the hook. Unemployment's at the lowest it's been. GDP.
Yeah, well, again, as I said earlier in the interview, the reason that the unemployment rate is so low is because, so many people are no longer in the labor force. And so once you leave the labor force, even though you're not employed, you're still not considered unemployed. So that's been a major part of it. And the other part of it is that so many people that would normally be working full-time are working part-time. And one of the reasons for that you have this huge proliferation of part-time jobs is because of the Obama administration and because of Obamacare. Whole industries have basically abandoned the concept of full-time workers. So let's say you have a restaurateur that used to have 20 people working full-time at his restaurant, and now he has 60 people all working part-time in various shifts. So according to that, 40 jobs have been created in the restaurant industry. And then what happens is the guy that used to have one job at that restaurant now works for 2 or 3 different restaurants.
Right.
And so he now has 2 or 3 jobs, and so that counts as more jobs. But it's not. It's the same guy. If you look at the employment in restaurants and bars, it skyrocketed during the Obama administration. I mean, are Americans eating, out that much more often? No, it's the same people getting counted on multiple jobs. And in fact, the government will claim if you have 3 part-time jobs and all those jobs add up to 40 hours, the government will claim that you're working 3 full-time jobs. That's how their statistics work. And then the reason that you have unemployment claims that are so low, I mean, they just hit the lowest they've been in 40-something years, you can't get fired until you get hired. And since so few people are actually getting hired, we're not having that many people getting fired. I mean, a vibrant economy, there would be a lot of people collecting unemployment because when businesses hire, not all the new hires work out. Right, so as you hire people, some of them don't work out, and you fire them, and you hire other people. So in a dynamic economy with a growing labor market, you expect to see a certain amount of layoffs. The fact that we're seeing such an abominably low number of layoffs, to me, that tells me that the labor market is not functioning right. We're not getting the kind of job creation that we would normally have because we're not getting the layoffs.
All right. And that explains why we're so frustrated on both ends of the spectrum. We have a Sanders and a Trump and all the things happening. People don't feel the numbers that get reported. That's your kitchen table. You're getting those bills. You don't feel it.
Yeah. Do you think a New York Jew who is a professed socialist that nobody even heard of until he ran for president would basically be tied in the national polls with Hillary Clinton, who's a household name, who is such a powerful politician that nobody in the Democratic Party who even wanted to challenge her? Right. That when Bernie Sanders first did it, it was like it was some kind of a joke. Nobody even cared. Why does he have these huge crowds? It's because the economy is lousy. And that's the same reason that Trump has these big crowds, because the economy is lousy. Look, all the people that are voting for Sanders, probably forget about the the minorities, African Americans. They're still Clinton, but all the white males who are voting for Sanders. Most of these guys were probably enthusiastic Barack Obama supporters when he ran 8 years ago, and probably less enthusiastic, but they still voted for him 4 years ago. Why don't they want to vote for Hillary? I mean, she's his heir apparent. If Obama was such a success, why wouldn't they be voting for Hillary? The reason they're going for Sanders is because Obama disappointed them, because the economy is worse now than when he was elected. And so that's why they're going for Sanders. If the economy was as good as the president claims, Sanders would not have all the support in his party.
Right.
Hey, Peter, can you hold on for one more segment, please?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
790-2040 is the phone number. We got Peter Schiff. He's bringing it. He brings the meat, and he's bringing it hard, guys. We've got a book called The Real Crash by Peter Schiff. You should check that out. Bill, and we got a question for Barney that we're going to get to for Peter, too. Joe Higgins, Christy, Simone, and Alexander. Wake up, Tucson, 1030 The Voice.
This is Bill Buckmaster, Pima County Supervisor Ray Carroll. Thursday at noon on Tucson's Voice, AM 1030 KVOI.
The Marana Chamber of Commerce is hosting Marana's State of the Town address on April 29th at the Ritz-Carlton Dove Mountain. Mayor Ed Honey will tell you why Marana is prosperous, strong, and forward-thinking. The business showcase and check-in starts at 10:30. Luncheon and address begins at noon until 1:30. Individual seats are $80. Each table of 10 is $750. Reserve quickly because this well-attended event has sold out for several years. Seating is limited, so prepay your seat today online at maranachamber.com.
My husband thinks he's MacGyver. Give him a paperclip, duct tape, and chewing gum, and he can fix anything for about a day. Honey, it's 1,000 degrees outside. Please call Mission Heating and Cooling to repair our air conditioning.
Look, I'm not spending money on that.
Well, Mission Heating and Cooling will do a free estimate, free diagnostic test, and not charge us for the trip.
Don't worry, honey. I've got this.
Listen to your wife. Call Mission Heating and Cooling today at 822-8499.
Hi folks, this is Mario, Dr. Bedoya's son of Dedicated Dental. If you wear dentures or know anyone who wears dentures, we truly hope they're working out well. Dentures are a good solution to missing teeth, but they are not necessarily the best solution. Dentures can cause gagging, sore spots on your gums, they can move around when you chew food, and the food itself doesn't taste the same anymore. That's why so many of Dr. Bedoya's patients are upgrading from dentures and bridges to implants. Implants are the best alternative to natural teeth. Looking at research and statistics is one thing, but when patients share their experience after having implants is much more real and gratifying. They say things like, I've never thought biting into food would ever feel this good again. Or I haven't felt this confident about eating in years. My teeth feel firm and strong. At Dedicated Dental, that's what we do. Dr. Bedoya and his associates are here to help you live a better life. Call today for your free consultation. Dedicated Dental, 573-1900. That's 573-1900.
If you're in the market for tires, you can't afford to miss this announcement. Jack Furrier for Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. For over a decade, we've led the way in total tire pricing. For over a decade, you've never paid extra for wheel balancing. You've never paid extra for valve stems. You've never paid extra for rotations and repairs, because these services are all included when you buy your tires at Jack Furrier's. But now, we're taking free services one step further. We're now offering up to $70 back by mail on any BF Goodrich tire. Choose the new BF Goodrich Advantage TA, a great tire that strikes the balance of inspiring performance and long-term durability. And when you buy 4 BF Goodrich car, SUV, or light truck tires, you'll receive up to $70 back depending on the tire you buy. And remember, you never pay extra for installation. Now, with more choices than ever, plus money back from BF Goodrich, nobody beats our total price. Nobody beats Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care.
See redemption form for details. Offer valid April 18th to May 8th, 2016. Void where prohibited.
Wake up, Tucson, at 9 before 7. And Alexander here, AM 1030 KVOI, The Voice. Tucson traffic, what action on the old map right now? It's at Los Reales and Nogales, if you're going that way. Sunny and 92, warming it up today and tomorrow. Windy and 88 on Saturday, sunny and 85 on Sunday. 58, pretty nice right now at AM 1030 KVOI, The Voice.
6:51 in the morning. Joe Higgins, Christy Simone, and Alexander, along with Peter Schiff. Peter, thanks for holding on for another segment. We appreciate it, sir.
Sure.
One question. One of our listeners had a question. What does Peter think of the Canadian dollar?
Well, it's going to go a lot higher. I mean, it's already turned. I mean, if you look at what's happened to the Canadian dollar this year, it's up and it's continuing to rise. And it's going to follow the price of oil too, because obviously a lot of people are worried about the Canadian economy because of the weak oil price. But oil prices are going to keep rising as the U.S. dollar falls. But I think what's going to really help out the Canadian economy is going to be the mining boom, because we're going to see a gold rush like we've never seen in Canada. It's going to be probably bigger than the California gold rush of 1849, because gold and silver are going to be so valuable that everybody is going to be out trying to mine it. And the mining industry has really been asleep for a long time over there. And so anybody that might have lost their jobs in the energy sector is going to find a job in the mining sector. So I think there's a lot of good things on the horizon for the Canadian dollar.
So Peter, sounds like
a big buyer.
Sounds like Canada kind of missed the downturn in 2008. They're starting to see the housing crisis is happening now. Looks like Texas is another state that kind of missed all that. So the mining, copper in particular, Arizona's a big copper state. We have some big copper, a lot of people work in the copper industry down here. When you talk about commodities, you're talking about precious metals, because that's a place
where all commodities. I mean, they're all going to be going up. This is going to be another big run. I mean, look at the CRB. Look at the big spike it's had since the lows in mid-January. And so I think this is all going to turn, because the whole bear market that we had these last few years in commodities was predicated on a strong dollar and the Fed tightening, right, raising interest rates. When we end up with another ease and more money printing, the markets are completely not anticipating this. The markets are going to be caught by surprise, and there's nothing that moves markets more than a surprise, especially when everybody is on one side of the boat, and then all of a sudden they realize they're on the wrong side, and they all rush to the other side at the same time. It's not pretty.
But isn't commodities like copper, don't you have to build things and grow things? And China was such a big consumer of steel and copper and all these raw materials. Don't you need that growth?
They will be again, because remember, as the U.S. dollar goes down, all of a sudden everybody in China becomes richer. Everything becomes cheaper for the Chinese consumers, and they all start buying more.
Right.
So this is good news. See, what's bad news for American consumers is good news for everybody else. See, we've had it good the last few years. The dollar's been strong. Everybody was talking about, hey, what happened to the oil price dividend? We had cheap oil prices. Why haven't we seen that in the numbers? We have. The consumer is so loaded down with rising rents and rising health insurance.
That's
premiums.
where it went. You saved at the gas pump, but you're paying at the healthcare bill, right?
Right, but now gas prices are now going up, and the pace of that increase is going to pick up. So now consumers are not only going to have to deal with rising rents and rising insurance and rising food and rising utilities, they're also going to have to deal with rising gas prices. So,
looking politically, it can't help, because the crash happened right when Bush was getting out of office. New president, new administration comes in and saves the day. Can't help but think that might be looking like it's going to happen again. Right before the end, they're going to flush the toilet, and then all of a sudden the new president's the hero somehow, or shape or form. Is that somehow planned, you think?
Is going to be the hero.
Yeah, I agree with that.
If this collapse happens before Obama gets out of Dodge, it's not going to be as easy, because the Fed's not going to be able to, pull another rabbit out of its hat,
right,
because that hat is empty at this point.
Right.
So we're going to get the real crash. So but the best thing though is for the collapse to happen before Obama leaves, because it's more clear that he's partially to blame for the problem, rather than having him leave and have it fall apart. Because that's kind of what happened to Bush initially, because when Clinton left office, the Clinton bubble didn't burst until after Bush got in office, and then he dealt with it, and we had that recession. But the Bush bubble burst while he was still there, which is why Obama got elected in the first place.
And these cycles are typically every 7 years, and we're on the 8th year with no bust, so it's really due.
Hey, let's try.
This one is going to be the mother of all, because I think we're out of bullets as far as real effect. Not bullets in the sense that they can't fire them, like I said, but
right.
I don't think the Fed is going to be able to artificially prop anything up. I think it's just all going to blow up this time. I think we're going to die of an overdose of stimulus, and we're going to have that massive inflation that everybody is so convinced didn't happen. You guys like Ben Bernanke say, the people like Peter Schiff, although he doesn't mention me by name, but people were saying that QE would lead to all this inflation, and they were all wrong. They weren't wrong. It just took longer.
Yeah, Operation Twist.
It's going to come here,
right.
and it's going to be bigger than ever because they did it for so long. It's kind of like if you're in the shower. Let's say you're standing in the shower and it's too cold, and you turn up the heat, and you still don't think it's hot enough, and you turn it up a little more, and still not hot enough, you turn it up a little more. But what you don't realize is there's a lag between each time you turn up the heat and when the hot water actually comes out of the faucet. And so pretty soon you've turned it up a lot, and then all of a sudden it's scalding hot, and you burn yourself.
Right.
That's what's going to happen here with the Fed. They kept creating inflation, and they looked at the CPI, and it didn't show anything. So they said, okay, we can keep doing this.
Keep going.
They keep printing money. But unfortunately, there was a longer lag than would normally happen, and by the time all the inflation comes out, I mean, the whole economy is going to be burnt.
Plus, at the same time, the banks are not lending to to Main Street. You're not seeing the circulatory effect of money. It's all at Operation Twist.
No, none of the money goes to Main Street. It all goes to Wall Street, and big companies can borrow because they can sell bonds, but they don't borrow to buy equipment or hire people.
Right.
They're firing people. They borrow to buy back their stock.
Yeah, look at
that
Caterpillar.
Create economic growth.
Yep.
Let's try to sneak a phone call in before we run out of time. Let's go to Bill number 2. Billy, you're on with Peter Schiff. What's up, buddy?
Good morning, guys. Good morning, Peter. Hey, got something I saw the other day that I think has got the Fed totally probably awake and freaked out at night. This is from the comptroller of the currency. 4 banks, just 4 banks in the United States hold 91% of all derivatives at the end of 2015. Those total derivatives amounted to $181 trillion.
Right.
And 76% of that $181 trillion are interest rate derivative contracts. So a small move in this stuff is just going to blow this thing sky high. Don't you agree?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a good thing we declared those banks too big to fail in 2008 and bailed them out because they're a hell of a lot bigger now.
Yep.
So what does that mean? I mean, it means that we should have let them fail back then.
Absolutely.
Because now it's going to be even worse.
There's just 4 banks that hold 91% of all of it. And we can all guess which 4 of those are.
And a derivative is basically shifting off the risk onto other people, right? So you're like insurance policy.
Well, yeah, these are interest rate ones. But it's kind of like when the people that bought those mortgages realized they were worthless, they would, create a new piece of paper and sell it off to someone else, and then someone else would sell it off to someone. And this just grew, and that's what's kind of going on, I think, right now.
All right, Bill, thanks for calling. Peter, we got about a minute left to let you wrap up. How do people get a hold of you? Where to get your podcast? Where to get this information?
Well, my podcasts are on SchiffRadio.com. I'll probably be doing one later today. A lot of stuff going on in the markets today. And if they're interested in doing something to protect their wealth while you still have wealth, which I think is important, you can check me out at my website, Europac.com, EUROPAC.com is our website. 800-727-7922 is the phone number to talk to our representative.
You have an office in Scottsdale.
Huh?
You have an office up in Scottsdale, just up the street from you.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, Scottsdale. You can get the number directly if you just go to the website and just look at the Scottsdale office and come down and visit us. And if you want to get your hands on some physical gold and silver, SchiffGold.com is my metal company. And, buy it before the price goes up.
Hey, Peter, thanks, man. Thanks, buddy. Great job as always, sir.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Always look on the light side of life.
Intelligent Talk 24/7, AM 1030, KVOI, Cortero, Tucson. On the web at kvoi.com.
Always.